If the idea of putting yourself out there makes you want to disappear, you're not broken. You've been handed the wrong playbook. For years, the basic tips from extroverted content creators was post more, be everywhere, network more, put yourself out there. Sorry, but are we performers or small business owners? Look, if you ask yourself, and I bet you did, this is not a motivation problem. It's energy and purpose alignment. Because the extrovert's playbook might work with for extroverts. But in this video, and honestly ever, I'll never gonna ask you to change who you are. I'm actually gonna show you how to use your introverted nature as a strategic asset with 3 ways to attract clients without being always on. And if tip 1 and 2 alone make sense, the third is what closes the circle and makes your marketing easier. But why should you listen to me, right? Hi, I'm Chiara. I'm a digital marketing and branding coach that help introverted small business owners just like you understand their marketing basics and get out of the cringe feeling zone. And when I started, I was not that aware. I also could not distinguish the high energy, extroverted kind of advice. Because historically, in our society, we shifted from valuing character to valuing personality. We started praising people who talk fast and loud over people who think quietly. Schools pushed speak up. Companies are always the great talker. And as Susan Kate in her book Quiet said, this taught us that being quiet is worse than being extroverted, or at least that's how it's seen. And being introverted, it's something that you should fix. So, of course, we all fell for that narrative, right? So, I also sprinted in the past and tried to fit into other people's tips and tricks without even asking myself if I maybe could find a better solution that fitted myself. Thank you, imposter syndrome. And of course, I burned out. And to get out of that, the breakthrough was not some random tip I found on the net, but it was starting from scratch, analyzing myself, and rebuilding my system from scratch. And guess what? Turns out introversion is not a liability. It's actually a filter that makes your marketing better and stronger. So now that you're here, drop everything you know, drop those models that assume you have an endless social battery, or anything that clashes with what you work best. And let's see what you can do instead. But before I tell you what tip 1 is, I need you to acknowledge one thing. And that's that your death helps you make content that actually solves problems. Your instinct to listen means that you understand even better what buyer means, not just what they say. And this is insanely valuable in marketing because all this data makes great content. And in fact, my tip 1 is build a content fortress. Stop feeding the algorithm with disposable posts. Start creating evergreen content. Those are your assets that compound in the long term. For example, a well-structured website, a blog with useful specific articles, or a YouTube playlist with clear tutorials. One excellent piece a month can make the difference and outperform hundreds of throwaway cheap posts. So yes, this is your permission to go deep and not wide. Let that knowledge that you have shine and build the foundations of your authority. And this plays to your strengths and attract clients who want to work with you because you're actually knowledgeable and trust what you say and not because you're just a cool name at the moment. And this concept actually brings us to the tip 2, because connections are actually the golden assets of your business. But you don't have to get into crowded or noisy rooms. You can actually build meaningful connection in a way that's friendly for us introverts. And it's mastering the one-to-one networking. Think useful DMs, virtual coffees, very small networking groups with people that resonate, and even collaborative content pieces, quality over quantity. So work on those narrow but strong connections. And of course, in time, also referrals. If you don't know where to start with this, just list 5 people you actually admire. Message one this week and just open the real conversation. Don't think about selling because people smell that miles away. Go with the idea of growing your network. And since networking requires a lot of energy, this brings us actually to the third tip that, as I mentioned, I think is the core pillar. Because us as introverted small business owners, we have a limited battery when it comes to socializing or even just promoting ourselves. So we need a strong plan. But before we dive in, please make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any of the video. And if you like this topic, hit like so that I know that you're interested in this and I can talk more about these topics. So my third tip is systemize your energy. When I was younger, planning based on my expectations and not my actual energy was one of my top mistakes that actually led me to burnout. And I know I'm not the only one, because how easy it is to stock that to-do list with ideas or random marketing advice that we want to test, just to end up feeling overwhelmed or with a big decision fatigue. So my advice is to give yourself a short, simple, repeatable system that actually respects your energy and not just your time. Because we never have 100% days, right? Sometimes we're 20%, sometimes we're 80%. Sometimes we're 120, so we make up for the other days. But with a proper system, this is easier to manage. So start with awareness, know how you work best. So for example, you can batch content on the days where you have a higher energy, schedule everything, so that when you have lower days, everything is running anyway. You can create templates, you can create checklists, anything that help you know how to proceed. Because literally anything is better than just winging it and asking yourself every day in front of a blank page, what should I post today? Structure removes the stress and bring consistency. And since I know that these advices can still feel overwhelming if they don't meet action, I actually prepared something for you. I made a little checklist that can guide you through content creation, both for short form and long form. You can download it for free, and it should help you structure your content system starting from the relevancy of the content rather than how many times do I post or when do I post. There are things that are not really moving the needle for you. Because succeeding as an introvert has never been about being louder, but about having a structure that allows you to stay consistent and stop second guessing yourself. It's always been about knowing how you work and finding something that works best for you so that you can build meaningful authority, connections, content, respecting your energy. Thank you so much for getting until the end of the video and for listening. I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.